We're standing by. Stand by due to technical difficulties.
I mashed more buttons.
Okay. You have the agenda. I understand we need to amend the agenda to add an executive session for real estate. Okay. So
I'd like to make that motion. That we amend the agenda.
Okay. Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, just it's unanimous. So we'll add an executive session for real estate at the end of the meeting. All right, next on the agenda is public hearing. The public hearing is regarding the abandonment of a portion of Johnson Road. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? This public hearing is now open. Do we have no one's here to speak. Okay, noted.
Motion to move to close, open.
Motion to close the
Close.
public hearing. There you go. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to the next section of our agenda. Public comments. Do we have any public comments tonight?
Yes, we have one.
Okay. Do we?
Please tell me the phone's already plugged up.
No, there's something plugged over there under you.
Well, let's do it this way.
706-661.
661
7005.
7005.
And his name is Mr. Marston.
Mr. Marston? Is he the?
Same one from last.
Okay.
Hello, Norman Allen. How have you been?
I'm good, sir. So you know who I am, and you know you are joining a live session of the Upson County Board of Commissioners. I understand you wish to make a comment. So, sir, when you start, you have 5 minutes. So have a good evening.
Good evening. When does my time start?
Now.
My name is Jerry Marston. Thank you for this opportunity to speak, sir. I make known my no consent to wireless infrastructure attachments to EMC poles on or near my property in my neighborhood. I also speak on behalf of my friends here in Upson County and many of your constituents. Modern wireline or wired broadband services are superior to wireless services in terms of capacity, reliability, and scalability. While updated wireless technology may surpass the theoretical bandwidth capabilities of some wireline products, fiber optics to the premises, or FTTP, are easily surpassing even the best of all planned or deployed wireless technologies. Wireless broadband is subject to interference in foliage and weather conditions. Now, quality of service can also be disturbed by negative effects on the wireless signal by other electronic devices. Now, herein lies a big problem with wireless broadband attachments. Wireless is a shared medium, shared by all connected users. Wireless service can be plagued by asymmetric service, slow data rates, and congestion problems. Every single user will reduce or even restrict the usage of all other users. The more users on a wireless system at any given time, the lower the quality of service for all users. Today's mobile or wireless broadband delivers only about 1/10 the speed available more ugly radio frequency microwave radiation emitting infrastructure. Existing mobile technologies must also be evaluated based on their actual current performance rather than hypothetical speeds of future technologies that may emerge in the next decade or so, which the telecom industries like to highlight. Wired broadband is also cheaper for the consumer than wireless broadband. In Longmont, Colorado, a new municipal FTTP system provides access so fast and expensive at $49 a month at 1 gigabyte service. This is at a fraction of the cost others pay in many other parts of the country. To summarize, so far 100% wired FTTP systems are safe because they don't emit hazardous RF radiation. They're more reliable because they don't have issues with weather, foliage, trees, and are not a shared medium. They're fast and wired systems and are economical. They are economical. They are also more energy efficient, which I don't have time to discuss today. Access to the internet is dominated by the triopoly of Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast. Now, this group is driving the national emphasis on wireless technologies. Wired and fiber networks are subject to some regulation and controlled by our state utility commission, but wireless companies are allowed to charge whatever the market will bear. We all know that promotions and gimmicks do not last forever and don't favor you or me as a consumer. Charging what the market will bear will leave those with lower income status out in the cold eventually. It's in the interest of the dominant telecom industry, triopoly, the three of those companies, to obscure the fact that advanced copper and FTTP are far superior to wireless in cost and performance. Dr. Timothy Shockley, author of Reinventing Wires, The Future of Landlines and Network, states, the internet is not living up to its potential. It has been hijacked by commercial motivations, which constrain the availability, quality, content, and media and high-speed access in the United States. Government officials have been misled about the adequacy of wireless communications. Other countries, what are they doing? They're investing to ensure the citizens access to the fast and reliable information highway, as promised here to us in the U.S. back in the 1990s with fiber optics, FTTP. U.S. legislators appear asleep at the switch captured by the wireless industry and its lobbyists. Now, we the people must have a say what equipment is placed on or near your property or our property in our neighborhood. These EMC poles are very close to people's homes. Local government must not allow the interest of the telecom industry to overthrow our personal choice and right to live in a peaceful, quiet, and tranquil neighborhood, free from 24/7 biohazard RF microwave radiation.
Hey, sir.
FTTP alone meets that need.
Yes, sir. So that's, I know that you covered quite a bit, and I apologize, your 5 minutes, but, feel free to get in touch with us if you want to discuss this some further. So, but we appreciate your time and your comments.
One last question may I ask you?
Well, this is comments, but you can.
Comment?
Yes, sir.
Whatever works.
Yes, sir. If you'd like to give me a call or one of the other commissioners, feel free to do so.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. All right, moving along. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which you'll see on the consent are the minutes from the February 3rd, 2021 work session, the February 9th regular meeting minutes, and acceptance of the January 2021 financials. Is there a motion on the consent?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ellington. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay. New business, which is kind of not really new business, old business, but consideration to abandon a portion of Johnson Road. Jason, you can just keep me straight on this. We had done some stuff in the past, but we needed to kind of clean it up a little bit. And I know Mr. Trice has been a big help working with English Law Group, and I think we're at the point now where we're getting it all cleaned up. And so we have had the public hearing. All the notifications have been made. The resolution has been done. So all we need now is motion to.
And to clarify the chairman's point, our clerk had done the research on the prior attempt, and it had started with the resolution but never followed through to the public hearing. So
Okay.
it was, it was abandoned midstream, therefore the need to redo it.
So all we need tonight is we need a motion to formally abandon, and we will be done with this.
That's correct.
So hearing all that, is there a motion?
I'll offer a motion to abandon the portion of Johnson Road as described in staff report.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jones. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Jones.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Trice. Okay, all right. Next on the agenda is discussion of Andrews Chapel School. I'll just start by saying, you know, I went out there not too long ago, and you know, we've had this building now for a little bit, and it's not taking care of itself. Staff went out and took care of some of the landscaping needs, and then we just recently, you know, took care of I would call it a temporary repair on the hole in the roof. Jason, you can speak to that, but it's holding up. It's dry on the inside, but obviously there's still some damage and some maintenance type work that needs to be done out there. Do you want to?
Yeah. So there's been concern about structural integrity. You know, really, staff was at the point where you know, the next step would be to request proposals for a rehab of some kind, and what that would do is, you know, in what my staff was recommending to me, that at minimum the structure needs to be looked at and repaired in some areas. There's one part on, and I think it was out on the south side of the building where it's kind of sagging. It's right in the same spot where we fixed the roof leak. I mean, the roof needs to be completely stripped off and redone. And more than likely, there's some structural issues with the subframing of the roof as well. So we had made some preliminary estimates of $50,000 in repairs, but I know that the board had talked about several other items as related. So before we release an RFP, we just wanted to make sure that the board would be even willing to move forward with expending that kind of money on the building before we got too far into it.
Well, I think what you need, and we need some understanding of what our expectations are on, you know, what, you know, if we do this RFP, to what extent are we going to do this? I mean, the building is what it is. I mean, I think we finally relegated ourselves to the fact that the option of moving it is not really a viable option. You know, it probably needs to stay where it is, but it certainly needs some tender loving care. Now, to what extent are we able to do? I mean, because this is one of those things, you know, it's kind of like you know, an old car. You can put a lot of money in it trying to make it look new, or you can put some money in it and you know, make it look good. So,
Well,
what are y'all's thoughts on?
And it's my understanding the proposals that we've gotten for that, about $25,000 roughly is the roof. The rest is mainly structure cost to even be able to get on the roof to fix it, correct?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the only proposals that we solicited were about 18 months ago, and it was just for a re-roof, and that was an official RFP process. But during that time, the guidance from the board was to pause. So, and we did. But that $25,000 was just for a re-roof, and all the submittals were assuming that there was no structure issues underneath. So, but that was for a shake or shingle roof to make it historically.
Is that what's underneath the asphalt shingles that are up there now?
Yeah.
Okay.
They actually put asphalt shingles over a shaped roof. I didn't know that was even possible.
I asked that same question.
That, I mean, it wasn't
Part of the.
us, I mean,
Alright,
we did it to match the roof that's up there now on the repair, but not the entire roof.
You know, I would like to say that we can do a couple of different things, but I think, you know, unless somebody objects, I think either we need to get together as a group and go out there and visit this site, and let's lay eyes on it. Let's lay eyes on it, you know. It'll tell its own story when we get there, and we'll know what we're looking at. I think amongst this group, there's enough of us that understand that, you know, what's probably going to have to be done. But I'd like to lay eyes on it as a group and discuss it. And just, you know, because if we say we need to be kind of detailed what we want. We say staff put together something, get a proposal, you know. Then we go, oh, well, I didn't like that color, or I didn't want to do that. Or, let's solve that problem right now. Let's just take some time, go out as a group, take a look at the building. And if we can't go out as a group, we need to go in the building. We need to see what's upstairs. We need to walk around the building, you know, and then we need to try to determine with probably some staff present to from our building, you know, maintenance building officials and our inspector, and just take a little time and analyze it and see what actually needs to be done and what we can do now. Because, you know, we can't solve all its problems today because this is an old structure. It's going to have a problem next year somewhere else. But we got to start the process.
And once we look at the building and make a determination as to what needs to be done, we also need to have a good discussion as to what do we want to happen long term with the building. How do we plan to market it? What do we plan to do with it long term?
Yeah, I think our archives director, I don't know if y'all saw her email several weeks ago. I mean, if we can potentially, if it's eligible for the National Register of Historic Places, I think that's a good start. Because I was one of the ones that questioned the integrity, and is that much money worth putting into something like that if it is in bad shape. But I think knowing this from Jameson gives a little bit of a clarification of how we may proceed once we put some money into it.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could get some help with, I don't know if we can, if you know, I'm sure we can potentially get some money to help with improvements, but then you know, I don't know if there's anything out there that helps with the overall maintenance and upkeep, you know, because it's out there. I hate to say it's out of sight, you know. I mean, you got to want to go there. It's a good, you know, it's good, but we just got to figure out how we're going to use it. I mean, if you talk to Jameson and you talk to the McKinleys, I mean, there's interest in that building, and people come here to see it. And as we market a little bit more, but like Commissioner Huntington said, you know, we got to get in and make sure that we don't want anybody falling through floorboards or anything like that. So, what do you think?
Well, what do we got on our work session?
Well, I was just going to say, I think we have a pretty robust session next Wednesday.
The two biggest items on the work session, Mr. Chairman, were the text edits to the telecom ordinance having to do with tower height. And then we were going to look at, we were going to take a first glance at senior homestead exemptions. Those were the two, and there's 4 or 5 other smaller items.
Yeah.
Those, but just those two, you're probably looking at a couple hours.
Yeah. Well,
I know
maybe.
James has got to go to work early, so
Yeah.
I'm fixing to say, you know, if we could.
Well, take a sandwich out there.
I mean, I don't mind doing it after the meeting. I don't know about.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I can make time to, I mean, I think it's important enough that we need to get out, take a look at it. The sooner we can tackle the problem, I will feel better putting my eyes on it, seeing what's going on with it. I mean, I trust, but I want to verify.
how about we just possibly have Thomas
Sure.
or Phil
Mm-hmm.
out there, and you know, we could just have them on notice, and we can call and say, all right, we're about 20 minutes to head out, and they can bug out there. And,
Yeah, I think it's wise to put eyes on it, and you know, I don't want it to fall to the ground, you know, because it's so old and it's intact on the inside. And I don't want it to, you know, there's no other one around, and hopefully we can get this historic building thing done, but, you know, until we get that done, we at least gotta get it stabilized.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think we all need to look at it, we'll do that.
And if you think it's relevant, maybe Jameson will meet us out there too, because I think we're gonna have to lean on her, because if there's an opportunity to go through getting this on the historic register. And
Because just for giggles now, I did a little research. The period in this building was made, asphalt shingles was on the verge of being invented. So the shingles are not period appropriate.
Yeah,
Asphalt shingles
we would have
are
to,
period appropriate.
we would have to
So it
go.
would have to be metal or wood shake, and metal obviously is going to be
Is that an option?
and it's an option, and the reason I say that's an option because it's period correct, and it is it's light, which will decrease the weight load that building. You know, it's holding up. That you put shingles up there, and you plywood, that's going to put a lot of weight on that roof.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
all right, so we'll tentatively shoot for that, and I think we can make it happen, so, all right. Okay, any other discussion on that? All right, we'll move along, so we'll take care of comments and then go into executive session, and when we come out of executive session, there's no vote anticipated tonight coming out of executive session. Okay, all right, Jason.
Mr. Chairman, I have two items. The first is, I had heard you mention at the beginning of the meeting that you looked and saw the date and you were wondering where the time went. Well, it is time for us to start talking about our SPLOST renewal. So we've officially been notified by DOR, which is essentially kicks off our process, that our SPLOST expires June 30th of next year. And in anticipation of kicking it off with my comments tonight, I'll just give you an idea of the process that we need to go through, and then we can talk timeline, and we'll probably talk more about it at the work session. But I thought it would be appropriate for me to mention in comments tonight to let the community know that this is coming this year. So to officially kick off the process, we would need to send official notices to the mayors of the two cities and invite them to a meeting to discuss projects. We would have to have minutes of that meeting taken. Through discussions, we would need to prepare and execute an intergovernmental agreement. In other words, all of us agreeing what each of the entities' projects are going to be. And then we need to forward that information to our election superintendent and call for a referendum. And all that would need to be done either before, in advance of the November election for 21 or the May primary of 2022. But there are some distinct differences about which one we would choose. So we have two opportunities to get it renewed before it expires. If we renew it in the November timeframe, when I guess the city will be having their November municipal elections, it would be the only countywide thing on the ballot then. But if it was approved by the voters at that stage, we wouldn't have any lapsed collection time. In the past, before the law changed, we used to be able to have special elections for SPLOST in March. Those are no longer available. The law has changed. So that pushes us, if we wait until 2022, to the May statewide primary. Still, we collect through June 30, but DOR needs a minimum of 80 days in between. So we would actually lapse for about 50 days with no collections. And I don't need to tell you what an administrative nightmare that would be for DOR, because they would have to go, because they could not legally collect that extra penny for basically 50 days, and then they would have to ramp it back up again. So it would be not only an inconvenience from the administrative standpoint for DOR, it would be a terrible inconvenience for everyone that's actually collecting the tax on our behalf in Upson County. So it would be my recommendation that we go ahead and kick off this process in anticipation of having it on the ballot in November. And it also is enough time between November and May so that if for whatever reason you're not successful with one, you can punt to the other one. So you'd basically have two opportunities to renew it before June 30. So not obviously we did T-Splost a lot faster than this, and it was extraordinarily successful, so we've proven we can do it. But I think it would be my recommendation that we go ahead and call that initial meeting, which will set the chain of events off so we can stay within our timeline. There is a certain amount of time that we have to execute the resolution to call for the referendum before we hand it over, because they have to have time to build the ballot, and I don't exactly remember what that time frame is. I do have it in my trusty manual, but the thing that I'll conclude with what we're going to call SPLOST 2022 is that just be cognizant of all the things that we use it for. So a tier 1 project, the construction of a judicial center certainly qualifies as a tier 1 project, which makes it a 6-year SPLOST rather than a 5-year. So that's an important component. And then of course think of all the other things that we do with SPLOST, especially like vehicle and equipment purchases. So we want to talk about, how does that look in terms of a referendum? Will we be able to actually still include all those purchases and be able to do a fairly large size tier 1 and potentially have some dollars left over to do road resurfacing and other things? So those are the types of things that we'll be getting you some options on, and we'll be trying to balance how much of that penny that we think we need versus how much of that penny that Yatesville and Thomaston think they need. So we'll have to, but we need to kick off that process. So be thinking of, as commissioners, about what projects you'd like to see included in it, and then we'll get together as a group, do work sessions, come up with our list, and then bring them to that initial meeting. Do you have any specific questions about it? I mean, I know that obviously we're going to get pretty far into the
Community input. I mean, I think having an opportunity, getting that out there and soliciting input on projects that, if there's funds available that we might be able to consider. We're fortunate that T-Splosh passed, and so as we shift some of the focus from the Splosh over to the T-Splosh for paving. I mean, we're fortunate right now. There's Splosh money, but the money's dedicated to road resurfacing and things like bridge repairs and the issues that we're dealing with. We have monies there for that. But so as we kind of wean ourselves off of Splosh, more dependent on T-Splosh for that, and kind of wean ourselves off some of the capital improvements that have been done to Splosh. There's money there for tier 1 projects.
So is there a time frame that we're going to give the mayors to generate their list?
We need to start right now.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we try to put
I'll reach out.
So after this meeting, I'll get together with the city manager of Thomaston. He's already aware of what. We haven't had the official discussion yet, but he's well aware of the timeline. So.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to the mayor in Yatesville. Tell him it's coming.
Yeah. But one of these meetings needs to take place officially. Obviously, there may be several.
Yeah. So do you need tonight for us to set a date for the meeting?
No, but hopefully next week at the work session we can set a date and move forward. So
Okay.
in the interim, the staff and I will reach out to the other 2 cities and look at available dates.
All right.
I think it might be valuable to have a kickoff meeting, have folks come lightly prepared to discuss, so that staff can just take notes and see, you know, 'cause I can tell you pretty much exactly what we'd be estimating over the next 6 years. And we can talk about, you know, if it grows and how much it would generate, or if it doesn't, how conservative we want to be. I mean, those are the kinds of conversations I think we need to have in the first meeting to set expectations of then now, you have to decide the size of the baby before you start
Right.
splitting it up. So
The size of the baby and then the distribution of the baby.
that's right.
And then they can figure out what they're gonna use the baby.
And are they comfortable using our growth estimates, or do they think our estimates are too conservative? I mean, I guess this will be my third SPLOST renewal, so, we're fortunate that we only have a couple partners.
And with this-
In our processes, we've proven that we've had a smooth process with T-SPLOST, so, which was great.
Would this have to be at one of our regular meetings, or could it be a special meeting?
It would be a call meeting.
Okay.
All right. This may not be the time to ask this question, but when are some of the other SPLOST monies going to expire?
And they don't expire.
They don't? So,
We're,
What's a squash?
The-
Always a squash.
the,
no, I'm talking.
the 11,
about
the
yes.
11 splosh, I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
I was under the impression too that we had to spend it, but we are going to spend we're going to liquidate the 11 splosh when we get the bill for the courthouse.
In July,
Yeah.
in a few months, for
As
2011.
long as it's allocated to something.
If the board had decided that all the projects were complete, then whatever's left in a SPLOST, you would use to, as a millage rate rollback. No, obviously, for the 2011, that won't be happening, so.
Right. Okay.
The other item I had, Mr. Chairman, and I got some good feedback from Commissioner Ellington this morning about the, I guess, 2 emails that I've circulated so far about bills that you might be interested in discussing with our lawmakers. If there's anything specific that you've heard, because I know a lot of you independently will look at not only the ACCG legislative updates, but I know the chairman will sometimes watch their productions in the morning, and I participate in kind of like a lobbyist-centric one on Fridays. So if you think that there's something we're missing, just let me know and I'll add it to y'all's updates, because I like for y'all to be able to just go to your email and quick reference it if you happen to have a lawmaker on the phone. And also, as a result of my discussion with Commissioner Ellington this morning, I did reach out to our state representative, which I'm ashamed to do, to say that I had not yet since the session started. So I reached out to her, offering her to try to bring her up to speed on the things we're following, and offering to help make some introductions with some of the folks from our association. I know that I sent that by text this morning because I know they're very busy, Monday
She
through
got it,
Thursday. Oh, she did?
I got a text about an hour ago.
Okay, great. A little bit of, dropping the ball on staff's behalf. I probably should have made that outreach a few weeks ago.
No, we're just as responsible.
But hopefully, if you find value in this and it kind of puts us all on the same page, so that when, I have the opportunity to talk to one of our reps, we're kind of talking from the same message. But it is something your staff follows closely. So if there's something that you would like to see in the report for your weekly that you're not seeing, just let us know what it is. But there's a few important items in here. Issues related to changes to our homestead exemption and the way we do assessments. Just that one bill alone is 7 components, one of which of those components would change the chief appraiser to an elected position and would allow for county-to-county floating homesteads. And if you have 20 minutes, I'll explain to you how that would work.
But get 20 minutes and let him scare you with it. It'll scare you to death.
Issues related to truck weights for logging trucks. That's a big no for Upson County. And that's
Commissioner
something that we
Ellington
need
got
to-
on to Representative Camp last night about that.
a change to the way we qualify and value timberland. The association has already come out with an opposition to this. Obviously, we follow suit with that. Tax Commissioners Retirement Fund, an issue, I guess, where that particular association has asked for a specialized retirement to be equated from fees on TABT tax. Obviously, that hits everyone's bottom line, and at the county level, there's the ACCG Policy Council has already made known that they oppose that. And it's just these types of things, because obviously with thousands of pieces of legislation, we could never cover them all. Mm-hmm. But I try to just choose the ones that I think that would have the most impact to us and our ability to maintain what we've achieved so far as the resiliency of our organization and the services we provide. So again, if you see anything out there you want me to do more research on, just let me know and I'll add it to your report. And those were the only two items I had, sir.
All right. Jessica, you got anything for us tonight?
I don't.
All right. Mr. English, you have anything outside of what we're going to talk about in executive session?
I don't, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mr. Ellington.
I got a couple things. We had Jennifer Grayhouse did another great job this weekend organizing the litter pickup. Myself and my family participated with many families and individuals. We went out and we picked up litter on the side of the road. And I just want to say this, and I'm biting my tongue when I say this, but it's disheartening to know that you walk down the road and you pick up paper on a Saturday when all those folks that were out there along with my family could have been doing something else, but they were out there on a Saturday, giving to their community, trying to make it look nice. And you ride down the road the next day, and what do you see?
More trash.
More trash on the side of the road. And and I'm gonna go on a limb here because I don't know who the people are. I'm just gonna simply say this: on the particular road that I picked up, I travel that road. It's not in my district; it's Daniel Road. But on that particular road today, I rode down that road and I seen 3 trash cans sitting on the side of the road. The lids flipped back, overrunning with trash, and trash blowing all out on the side of the road.
I think trash day is tomorrow.
Yes, it is. But, I just find that hard to believe that if you want to come on my road, you want to pick up trash, thank you. And I'm going to do my best to try to keep it clean. But it's almost a slap in the face when you go out into the community and you do something to try to make your community look better, and then people they don't care. Bottom line, they do not care.
Jason,
And we got to figure out how we can change that mentality.
on the issue with the trash cans, isn't it in our ordinance when the trash cans are supposed to be out?
The night before.
The night before?
I
Or-
put that in there because I don't want people just letting sit for days with trash blowing out.
Well, it's something we need to look into. I mean,
But-
and if it's in our ordinance,
Right.
that's a code thing.
Right, it's not just
Yeah.
the trash, and I heard a lot of people say, well, trash comes off a trash truck. Yeah, trash comes off a trash truck. There's no doubt that some trash comes from the wind blowing. That is a portion of the issue, but the biggest issue is trash by a window roll down. That is it, because if you go out there, if you got any doubt about it, go out and pick it up, and I know most of you have. That is going to show you, beer cans. Man, I guarantee you, there's a lot of folks in this county or pass through this county that drink, and they don't want a beer can in their car because that's open container. But they'll sure throw it out, and it doesn't have to necessarily be at the stop sign. But I mean, I'm telling you, Delray Road was picked up Friday afternoon. Right down Delray Road today, and that's just a couple examples. That was picked up by our contractor. It's just I don't understand it. It's confusing to me. I don't have anything to say nice about the people that are doing this. And believe me, if I see you doing it, you're gonna get a visit from the sheriff. or the law enforcement in the city, wherever I see it, because it's gotten ridiculous. And like I said, I challenge you, right down these roads that got picked up this weekend and look at them. I can't figure it out. Mama ain't gonna clean up after you. That's all I got to say on that subject. But the next subject is on, sort of still on that subject is Jennifer Graff. She's done an outstanding job. More to come on that. I got a couple ideas I'd like to discuss with the board on that. But Jennifer, she's making any money to do this. She's out there on a Saturday, time away from her family doing this, and she really cares about her community, and I'd like to recognize her in some way. That's all I got.
Mr. Wilder.
I just want to, I'm pretty much piggybacking on what you said. I want to thank the people that joined the pickup crew. I couldn't make it this past Saturday. I had a prior commitment, and I didn't make it, but I was there the other one. And somehow or another, we have got to get the people more concerned about the neighborhood and what they're doing, rather than just riding down the road throwing out trash. And I mentioned the last time, it's discouraging. I'm out there on the street picking up trash, and there are people turn up a street right next to me while I'm looking and throwing trash out of the truck in the ditch. Instead of out there helping pick it up, they throwing out more trash. Like I just say, you pick up that, pick up this too. But it's bad. And I think we all need to take some pride in what we are doing, and not throw out all your trash. Put a bag in your car and take it home with you, or throw it out at the next service station. You're gonna have to stop somewhere with where there's a trash can. And use the little container where you stop, and I don't need to preach all night about that. It's bad.
Okay. Mr. Jones?
I don't want to get too involved in the trash pickup because it's bad. We're spending taxpayer money now to pick up trash. Grateful to all the people that volunteer to pick up the trash that they have. Commissioner Ellington, Commissioner Wilder over there, and Commissioner Chairman Norman, and Ben. Everybody's lent a hand to try to clean up the community. And then you got people that, I don't know. I have no idea why people want to throw something out the car window when you could do the same thing at the house. Used to go get oil changed. They used to give you a bag. I mean, y'all young people ain't gonna remember this. They used to give you a little bag. You hung on your cigarette lighter, put your trash in it. When you got home, you took it out. Because people don't do that anymore, but now people just throw it out the window. But maybe that's something we can do is revive that. Hang it in your car, hang it on your shifter, hang it on something. Put your trash in there, take it out when you get home. People have gotten where they just do not care what their community looks like. And Daniel Road over there, same, and Delray. We just picked Delray up, and it's already starting right back, and it's going to cost the taxpayer more money to pick it back up again. So I don't want to get too much more involved in that, because I like to get hollering. But I appreciate everything that everybody's done to pick up the trash on the side of the road, the volunteer groups and everything else. I know it's something that probably not going to last all year long, but just try to keep your roads clean. Step out in front of your own house. Step out in front of your own house. Pick up the trash in the ditch. At least you get one piece that's clean. What's it going to, it's not going to kill you. So, that's it.
Mr. Watson?
Well, obviously we all know that trash is a big issue, and I recognized Jennifer the first time, and I definitely want to, commend her again. She is doing a great job, and I'm hoping this continues to build, because, even if it is a smaller group each time, or hopefully it's a bigger group, if you're seeing your constituents out picking up trash, maybe that'll make you think twice. Unfortunately, we have episodes that doesn't always work that way, but I do think Jennifer's done a great job spearheading this, and I hope it continues.
Okay, and got to piggyback. So as you alluded to, the contractor finished the first sweep of the 146 miles of roads. So it'll be next quarter before they come back. So it's really going to tell the tale how we look in 90 days when they come back. So
And they've done a tremendous job.
They really have.
They have done a tremendous job.
yeah,
But I think they got Poe bitty close to last. It is absolutely spotless.
But the rate of littering is gonna catch, if the rate the littering is happening now, I'm confused, I don't understand.
yeah, and you know, and we talk about litter on the side of the road. I'll add another aspect to that, and is you know, and Jason and I talked a little bit about this week. I just think we need to really take a look at our philosophy on code enforcement. I mean, we you know, we have all come into this, and we understand that the goal is compliance, right? But at some point, you know, I know how frustrating our code enforcement officer gets, and how tired Jason gets of hearing me drone on about some of the same spaces that we keep looking at. And then to go out and this past week and find one that you know, it wasn't a beautiful spot, but it certainly didn't look like a war zone that it looks like now, which happened over the last 2 years since we've been in office. So there's the keep it in your car, put it in the trash can, but take care of your stuff at home. You know, I mean this one neighborhood down there has just been decimated by this one person bringing in a business and just scattering junk everywhere. So I just think the philosophy of how we handle folks, because it is about compliance, but if there's no teeth, if the only tooth that we have, the only thing the penalty that we have is a fine, and you go weeks and months going through the process to get to that. You know, we write the ticket and we leave them alone. But I mean, it allows us, we're allowed to go out there and for every day they're in violation, write another ticket. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're not in the business of adjudicating the ordinances. We're in the business of creating the ordinance for the betterment of our community, enforcing the ordinance through our code enforcement officer. It is not our job. I mean, we work with folks and we work on getting to the compliance piece, but it's not our job to adjudicate. And a lot of times I think we try to keep from getting to that point. You know, I know we don't want to fill the jail up with code violations, but what we're doing is not work. I don't think any of us are happy with what we're doing to the level. I mean, but we all understand that it's not an easy fix. So, I mean, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what Doug and Jeremy are doing, but you know, we've got some work to do. And anyway, enough said on that. Keep trash out of the ditch, but also let's keep the properties from, you know, getting to the point that they're in. We talked a couple of months ago. I'll just put this out there, just planting a seed. I think we need to look at our speed limits on some of our county roads. And I'm not going to go into detail too much, but you know, just this past week we had another fatality in the community. I think that, and I know speed limits, you know, it's going to be like a code enforcement thing. You can put a sign up there, but there's been some changes, in particular on Delray Road. It's a lot more congested than it once was, and it seems like, I know in the last year we've had 3 separate incidences in that area. So I'd like us to think about possibly seeing what we need to do to look at that one and then maybe some others. We got notification this week from GDOT that they're going to do some work on the Elkins Creek Bridge on 74. They put us on notice that they anticipate that the bridge will be closed 9 to 12 months. And so we're going through the process now of the detour discussion. The detour that they're showing now is actually 109 all the way over to Highway 19 and down to Thomaston. We got it's an early discussion, but 9 to 12 months. So Jason and I were talking about today, if you work in Coweta County, Fayette County, Kia, Troop, it's going to be a significant impact to your daily commute. But we know that GDOT locally is in the process of determining who the next district engineer is going to be. Talked to Jason today. Look forward to us going and meeting with the new district engineer, whomever that may be, whenever we have the opportunity to talk about that bridge project and the other two bridge projects, and if there's anything else that we need to talk about, maybe get an update on Highway 19. I think that project's supposed to wrap up by this summer. So anyway, look forward to that. And then real quickly, last Wednesday we had a meeting with Mike Grella Partnership. It was a long day. I think it was a very productive day. I know Mr. Grella, for those that had never met him, walked away with a very favorable impression of him and of his knowledge of economic development. And so we have a few action items to help Mike help us on. And my challenge to anybody that was in the room or anybody that has a role in this is that we just don't have that date. And I said at the beginning of the meeting that this is not just going to be another date that we're going to reflect on and say, okay, well, on that date we met and we discussed. Hopefully that we're going to walk away and say, on that date we discussed and we accomplished, fill in the blank. Anyway, great meeting. He had two of his associates talk to us about infrastructure in the industrial park, what was there. I think the general consensus across the board is, from everybody we've heard, from large developers to folks in this business, is that our industrial park is right. We don't need to move any dirt right now. But we have a plan. All the infrastructure's there. We just need to solidify some marketing material and get it known that park is available and what it offers. Just FYI, yesterday's IDA meeting, the IDA approved a lease for the property out there. So if you see somebody cultivating the land out there, we did an RFP. There was one interested party that wanted to do it, and so they got it. And we've got a little groundwork that we're going to help the IDA with. There's some holes out there that need to be filled in, and we're going to participate with the city in helping take care of some of that. And anyway, wish that individual well on growing corn, but we made it very clear that I hope you don't see the first year of corn grown on that land. I want to see an industrial or a manufacturing facility going up out there in the near term. So, and then last but not least, I've had more conversations in the last 2 weeks, and as has Jason and others, about broadband, and not specifically related to the comments that we've gotten in the last 3 meetings that we've had, but more related to the big announcement that they had over in Monroe County and Central Georgia with the 2 EMCs and Monroe County. I think that's a $250 million investment, and it's 1 gig capable fiber to every EMC customer. Monroe County's taking that was $1.3 million, of which they got the 0.3 from the local school board. So I mean, it was a huge announcement. I'll leave it at that. The win will be when all those people over there have fiber to the door. We met yesterday with one of the local providers, Windstream. We have a lot of infrastructure in our community, and I think one of the issues is not necessarily knowing what exactly is where. They're owned by private companies, So I know Windstream is demonstrated has a verbal that they are committed to updating their infrastructure. You know, and I know EMC has had a lot of discussions on that. Our state rep has called all of us and has expressed her interest in helping us get money for broadband expansion in our community. The first step is this broadband initiative that we're talking about, Broadband Ready Community. Jason and staff are working on that. That's the first piece. But after that, then you got to have a project. And I think it would probably be good for us one day to, you know, I don't know, Neil Trice or something, come to a meeting, and it'd be nice to invite him to a meeting instead of him inviting me to a meeting one day, and show us the map of what's out there, because, you know, we've got broadband all over the community. I mean, you can go out Pickard Road, Burkett Road, you can go everywhere, and if you see these pedestals on the side of the road or fiber running down the road, but it's not getting to the front door. And so a lot of it's antiquated infrastructure, it's copper, but what frustrates me is when they come in, the first thing they want to do is update what they currently have. And where do they go? They go to the condensed areas. So nobody in the city limits is struggling for internet right now. I mean, it's there. If you're willing to pay for it, it's there. But you know, you get in some of the gaps that we have in the county. It's a huge endeavor, and we don't have enough. We couldn't write a check today, or how much of our future we'd have to mortgage to get fiber to the door, as has been mentioned to us on several occasions, without a public-private, federal government, state government partnership like what they're doing over in Monroe County. But the proof is in the pudding over there. I think they got to 2025 to do it, and it's a very complicated issue. And you know, to fill those gaps, if you're going to go fiber to the door, I mean, I know Commissioner Ellington lives a good ways off the road. I mean, getting a fiber to your house is enormous expense. I'm a good ways off the road, and so I mean, unless you're right there, it's very costly. If there's 10 houses on a road, on average, EMC figures that maybe 30 or 40% of the people will sign up for coverage. So, you know, if there's 10 houses in a mile, you're only going to get 4 customers, and it costs you anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a mile to run the fiber. That's not getting equipment to the door. It's a very complex issue, and you know, and I know some people have expressed a dislike in wireless technology, but you know, and unless you come up with some sort of hybrid solution, you're not going to fill it. In my opinion, you know, not in my lifetime, we're not going to fill those gaps. You know, and that's what they're doing, and that's what they've done in Woodbury. They implemented wireless technology in downtown Woodbury. They've done it. They're doing it in Concord and Molina, and I get that. That's small cell technology. You know, there's, you know. So anyway, I said a lot. I'm gonna hush. Let's clean the community. Slow down. Be safe. Be aware. Yes, sir.
I know I'm out of order.
Yes, sir.
Out of order.
But you're here, so.
I haven't been here in a long time. I just want to say, if it'll make y'all feel any better, your discussion about trash sounded like the same thing was being discussed 15 to 20 years ago. So people hadn't just started throwing out trash, they just continually doing it and pass that attitude down from generation to generation, I guess. And it's going to take a major effort to get them, because you can't lock them up necessarily for that. Although they ought to be locked up, I can tell you that. And the other thing I want to say is, Mr. English is one of the luckiest fellows in this county, because he has the opportunity to work with a bunch of professional people. And this is one of the most professional commission meetings I've ever attended. And some of you don't know what I'm talking about, but Jessica does, and Mr. Wilder does. And I'm not putting Mr. Wilder in that category, but y'all are, I appreciate it as a citizen, your interest in the community, and it's not interested in things that are important to the community. I've sat here and listened to commissioners discuss buying floor wax or whatever. things that certainly weren't appropriate.
We might do that sometimes. But
Well, I hope not.
Jason's gonna do everything he can to make sure we don't.
But, anyway, I appreciate you and I appreciate the job that you do, and I know it's a lot involved.
Thank you, sir.
Get involved in this discussion, but I appreciate, enjoy listening to y'all have a discussion.
Believe it or not, we have fun most times. And we really do look forward to the day where we can fill these seats back up. So, days are coming soon. So, by the ways,
Keep your fingers crossed.
which English were you talking about? The young one or the more senior?
I'm talking about the young one, the old one,
He realizes it already, doesn't he? Okay. All right, so no other comments. Is there a motion to go into executive session for, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank y'all. Mr. Self, it's really good to see you again.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'll get it to you. All right, thank you, Ed.
I ain't gonna say the word broadband tomorrow. I'm gonna say peach on.
We still on.
That's okay. People need to know
Do
that
y'all
I'm
want to
going
stay in here or go in there?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just in case that camera keeps going.
Just seeing the other day and I'm sure to see.
Still watching you.
Did you go to the gym? I did.
Where?
I thought about it about